and the month is moving, and what do they say? Zinasonga, and all those other things. It's holiday season.
It is.
Right?
It's the holiday and adventures Ziko kwa Go TV kwa wingi. We're not leaving anyone behind because we have good programs for children of all ages. We've got you covered like that. If you have a preteen, you can watch. If you have children under the age of 5, you can watch as well. These shows air weekdays from 4:15 on the Disney Channel. They can also enjoy the adventures of Henry Danger every Saturday and Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on Nickelodeon Channel 87 on Go TV Value. Download the Go TV app or dial *423# and get into a fantastic world of entertainment for children.
Okay. Have you gone to NairobiMarathon.com and registered for the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon? You should, because this marathon will be staged on the 29th of October. It's a Sunday. It'll be happening across the country. In Nairobi, the main event will be along the Southern Bypass. Start and finish from Huru Gardens. Only 2,000 shillings needed to register and start preparing yourself for the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. 20th edition. This is one of the biggest city marathons that we have across the continent. And this time it happens not only in Nairobi, but in several parts of the country as well, physically, and across the globe virtually. This year's Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon takes place in October, 29th of October. Register on nairobimarathon.com. Owen Bayer is the Member of Parliament for Kilifi North constituency in Kilifi County. He is also the Deputy Majority Leader in the National Assembly. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much, Latif. Thank you.
That is the hot seat of the situation. Right?
Oh, okay. Pleasure to be here.
It's good you're dressed for the seat. In hot red.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
As a Deputy Majority Leader, you have a big role that you're playing. And we'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
As a Member of Parliament from Kilifi County, you also have a big role that you have to play in that area in terms of looking at what's happening in development going towards Kilifi. Yeah. And we also have to talk about Shakahola and the ongoing investigations, the ongoing operation of exhumation, of post-mortem identification, and of course counseling of those who have reported their loved ones missing.
Okay.
But to welcome you to the conversation,
thank you.
C.T. Muga has the day's proverb. Every week he has a number of proverbs from different countries. This week's proverbs are from
the Federal Republic of Somalia.
Federal Republic of Somalia.
Yes, the country we refer to as Somalia is actually the Federal Republic of Somalia. When a grown-up falls, children laugh. When they fall, they cry.
When a grown-up falls, children laugh.
Yes.
When they fall, they cry.
Actually, yes.
What's your interpretation of it? What do you think the Somalis are saying?
Now that it's not expected that an old man should fall, but when it does, it is probably a mistake he has made or something that, being careless or something like that. And therefore, people will give him his take of it, that is, laugh at him. But a younger person is a learning curve, and therefore it's not expected that you allow them to fall. You allow them to grow uprightly, and that they still have a future, and therefore you need to be sad when a younger person falls. My interpretation.
It's a good one, City.
You know, there are things you consider to be unlikely. And so when they happen, they cause maybe consternation, but you are left wondering. They leave you with questions. But when something that happens is something that you consider normal, then of course the opposite is true. Nothing really surprises you. Now, when an older person falls, there are people who will consider it tragic.
Yeah.
But you see, for a child, an older person is a symbol of very many things, and they don't expect that person to fall. A child will fall, and because they play a great deal, so they will fall a great deal. So when an older person falls, it's not just consternation. They assume that this grown person, like now a child, is like them because they are the ones who are accustomed to falling. So, Akukama Sisi, this person is exactly like us. So, put it this way. it is something that equalizes people, but the responses are different because their experiences or their lived experiences are different. Yes. So your lived experience will educate you and probably point in the direction of how it is you should interpret a situation.
Okay.
Good one. For purposes of understanding where you come from,
Yes.
please introduce us to Kilifi North constituency. Where does it start? Where does it end? What area does it cover? How many people do you represent?
Okay, when you're from Mombasa and you're approaching Kilifi, one of the things that you will see is a Mombasa cement factory. So when you start seeing Mombasa cement factory, then you're actually in Kilifi North. You'll have covered probably like 500 meters inside Kilifi North, coming from Mombasa. And then you traverse, you get to Kilifi town, where that the center of the city of my constituency. So when you get to Kilifi North, then now you take the Mombasa Malindi Road again, you get to Gede. Gede, then you go to Watamu on the other side, but you still move on that road until a place called Msabaha. Msabaha is probably 5-6 kilometers away from Malindi. And you have covered Kilifi North. So Kilifi North has 7 constituencies.
Wards.
Yeah, 7 wards. The Watamu, one of the tourist resorts in this country, famed tourist resort, is in my constituency. So you get to Watamu, you go up to a hotel called Jacaranda and get up to very close to a place. You go up to a place called, a fishing village called Mayungu. And you can drive for like 3 more kilometers, then you are actually hitting Malindi, and that's where my constituency ends. On the other side, we touch Kaloleni and Kilifi South, but we also are very close to Ganze town. So that's basically the geography. It is actually the largest constituency. I think the largest constituency in the coast region. Yes.
And it's quite vibrant. It has the Kilifi town itself. It has Watamu resort. It has the entire coastline, and it has a forest.
It has the longest coastline actually, and bigger part of the Arabuko Sokoke forest is actually in Kilifi North. Yes, and the famous hotels like Hemingway's, Medina Palms, Jacaranda, Tato Bay, are all in my constituency.
All your constituents.
Yes.
How far is it from Shakahola?
Probably you need to do around 3 hours to get to Shakahola. So probably around 50 kilometers away from Shakahola. So we're not very far away.
Why 3 hours?
For 50 kilometers?
Because the road may not be very good as you get. Of course, you drive on the Salagate Road, but as you want to get into Shakahola, you find a rough road. Yes.
Are you able to describe
Yes.
what Shakahola is? Are we just talking about large expanses of land, forest? What would you see as you approached Shakahola? First, to get an understanding of what it looks like.
Actually, the word Shakahola is a very... Shaka, Mashaka. Mashaka is a Swahili word. Problems.
Yes. Shida mingi.
Shida mingi. So the Giriama don't say Mashaka when it is a big problem. They call it Shaka. So Shaka is a Giriama word for a big problem. Hola is to heal or to get well.
All right.
That's what hola means. So it is you find a solution for a bigger problem. So when you go there, you actually get a reprieve. That is what it means. Kind of a reprieve. Shakahola is that you have been reprieved from a bigger problem. Okay. Yes, that is what Shakahola means. Now, that Shakahola area is what you would call a Giriama land reserve. That's why you see swaths of huge tracts of land and forest. So you see, the Giriama especially, as they settle, they always leave a large part of land unsettled. They say our children and grandchildren, when this land is not enough, they will move there.
Right.
So as you get to a place called Kakoneni, and you move on that as you approach Tsavo Park, you'll see a lot of forest land. But it was land that the Giriama kept aside for
Future
future
generation.
for the future
For
generation,
posterity.
Okay.
for posterity. So that was an area that people do not go to easily. Secondly, there are clans. You know, we have around 12 clans among the Giriama community. Around 12 clans. Now, these clans, each clan has its own land. In Giriama land, we call them Mali, like Mali. Mali, yawa Mbari. You understand?
Mali ambari flani.
Yes.
mbari flani.
So, if you go to that area, every Mbari is kind of reserved for a piece of land. You understand? Now, that land, the one that is described as Shakahola, belonged to a clan called Amwabaya Mwaro. I think in the reports that you have seen, that word is there. Now, the Amwabaya Mwaro clan is one of the largest clans, and that is their land, their property. Of course, Kenya government will come and adjudicate and give it, but the
community
Giriama
knows.
that this area belongs to this clan.
All right.
Okay. And the Amwabaya Mwaro clan had kept that area as their land, although it falls under one of the big ranches. The government gave it a name that is Chakama Ranch 1, Chakama Ranch 2, Chakama 3, Chakama 4. But that area, Shakahola, belonged to the Amwabaya Mwaro, which is my clan.
Okay.
Yes, which is my clan. I said as a clan elder, because I'm a clan elder, I will go and put things right.
Right.
So that area you find is a huge forest. Yes, specifically left for the future of the Giriama. Of course, Ministry of Lands people have been messing us up and subdividing the land and giving it out. But traditionally, the Giriama, not the Mijikenda specifically, but the Giriama would
Giriama.
always leave land for their future generation. And that land that was reserved for such. So today, if I ask my father, Dad, this land that we are living on is not enough. So he would tell me, okay, don't worry. If this is not enough, I'll take you to our money. And he will take me there, introduce me to the elders and say, this is our son. Show him a piece of land. He wants to settle down, get married and settle down. Okay. So you'll be shown some land and you start settling there.
So the assumption for Shakahola right now, based on what you've said, is that it's been kept aside.
Yes.
Previously.
Yes.
And the assumption also is that people were not supposed to be in there.
No.
Until clan approval now says, you can now
settle
give
here.
some to Baya and his people, or you can give some to somebody else.
Yes.
So everybody goes in mind knowing that nothing is really happening in there without clan approval.
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
So then it would have been a shock.
Yes.
Perhaps that what we have seen happening in this area has actually happened.
Very much indeed, because you see, this story, when I heard about it, I called one of the elders from my clan and asked him, how did you actually approve this land being given to someone else who is not a member of the clan? But you see, with poverty and with, Tamaya Pesa, I think this guy, Pastor Mackenzie, when he was chased away from Malindi, saw an opportunity in that vast land. And approached the elders there, said, I would like to be given this land. Now, in our clan also, in our traditions, there is something called Kurombeka. Kurombeka is you can lease, kind of a traditional way of leasing land. So I can pay you and say, I want to stay here for 5 years. So you are paid like 100,000. I want to stay here. How many acres? What do you want to do? I want to farm. So you give money, but you're allowed. Sometimes you give cows or goats, but you're allowed to use the land. It does not belong to you, but you can use the land for the purpose for which you want to use it. And then after you are done with your purpose, you return the land back. So that is how Mackenzie approached these people, that I've come here to do farming. And if you allow me...
And these are clan elders.
These are clan elders.
Right.
And the clan elders said, yes, if you want to do farming, in our tradition, we don't refuse somebody who wants to grow food. Yes, it's traditional. If you come to my home and say, you have 10 acres, I would like to grow food for my family, can I say, okay, give me 1 goat or 2 goats. You can farm for 2 years and feed your clan. But the land does not belong to you. You can feed your family. So that is how he approached the elders. He went there and told them that he would like to farm, and he was told, for every acre, give us 100,000, I think. And I think he paid some money, which he didn't even complete the payment, and therefore he was allowed to go in to farm. because that is how he approached the elders to go in to farm. And he was told, yeah, you can farm. Yes, because the land is fertile.
Okay.
And then Pastor Mackenzie got opportunity to now stay there. Not because he owns the land.
Okay.
Yes, but because he
He
was
had
given
leased
an
it.
opportunity, kind of a traditional lease. Yes.
Had the elders vetted him in any way? I mean, are the elders expected to vet somebody who comes and says, you know what, and you can clearly see,
Yes.
one, you are not
Yes.
a Giriama.
Yes.
Two, you are not even from our clan,
Yes.
Amboya Mwaro clan.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously. So if you're not Amboya Mwaro, you're not Giriama, so you're not
Yes.
even from this side.
Yes.
We don't know you. What steps should the clan elders have taken
Actually, the
to
clan
vet and understand this person?
the clan elders should have vetted him properly, and try to find out where he is from. So in Jikenda traditions, you can be chased away because you practice witchcraft.
Yep.
Okay. So you can be chased away from your home, and you run away to another place. So ideally, the clan elders should ask you, why are you coming here?
Where are you from?
Where are you from? Why did you leave where you are coming from to come here? What are the issues? Those are the things that you use to vet. Probably this is a bad person coming in to want to live within you. So you will do. He tells you, okay, we come from this village. So one Mzee will say, in that village, I know so and so. So they will want to find out from that end why this person is here. Unfortunately, in this case, I think already people knew something about Mackenzie. He's a pastor and all that, and therefore they welcomed him because he also came on that strength, just like the missionaries came. Right?
So how did you introduce him to these elders?
Yes, that is something that is you cannot just go to the elders to ask for land without somebody. So he had connections, people who were actually Amwaro, who were in his church in Malindi, who told him probably we can go and start farming in this area. And therefore, Mackenzie was introduced to the clan, and the clan elders agreed to give him some land for farming. And that is what he asked for, land for farming, not to start a church or anything else, but to farm.
So are there watchers of the land? Are there people who are aware that this is going on in the land, even when now permission has been granted to go in and farm? Are there people who, cast an eye every now and then to see what's going on?
Okay, from the traditional perspective, you see, when you come to lease land in that as temporary, and you're given that land to go and farm, there are certain things that you'll be told. Do not build a permanent house. That is one. Two, do not plant cash crops like coconut or cashew nuts. Those big plants. You cannot do that, and you can also not give the land to another person. So the elders, is their responsibility to ensure you don't plant like coconut or cashew nut, and you don't put up a permanent house, permanent structure. You'll only do temporary structures, and that is one of the things that is expected of you when you get the traditional lease of land. And the watchers of the land then are expected to watch out that you do not start making the land your own. Yes, by ensuring that they pass to see, he's not building a permanent house, or he is not planting those cash crops, so that you use it for the purpose of growing food for subsistence, for the subsistence of your family, and that is how it's expected to happen.
Okay.
Yes.
So then, from what you're saying,
Yes.
it would then be impossible
Yeah.
for some of the things that were happening, from what we've been told, allegedly,
Yes.
to occur, and they were not seen by anybody else.
Actually, you see, the events of Shakahola are mind-boggling, but they can be explained.
Okay.
You can explain this because who are the people who were with Pastor Mackenzie? I had a small interview to understand with locals to understand what it is that happened. And they said, okay, you see, what happens is, I don't know whether any of you have gone to Shakahola to see, but you see, as you pass the road, as you go to Tsavo, there's the road which is called the Salagate Road, Malindi Salagate Road.
Yes.
So when you leave the road, you drive in the interior. Okay, you drive into the interior. It's just a forest. Although there's a dispensary, a very famous dispensary called Shakahola Dispensary. It's been there for many years, And so I asked the young people there, how come you didn't know these things? Now, what they told me is the problem with what was happening in Pastor Mackenzie, this land is large. So you drop somebody at the entry into Pastor Mackenzie's farm. But you see, the farm does not start immediately. So you drive inside the farm, and then now you get the settlement and the farms inside. Now, why was it not easy to know what was happening? Because a lot of the people who came in were not locals. Okay. So you pick somebody, you're a boda rider, you pick somebody at the road. Unaenda wapi? Naenda kwa Pastor Mackenzie. So you're dropped at the entry. So you are left there. So when you get in there, you never come out.
And so you don't interact with the boda person.
You don't interact with the boda people. And they were not locals. Because if they were locals, people would have said, huyu mtu wangu alienda wapi? Alienda kwa Pastor Mackenzie. So people would have had the interest to go and say hi to their relatives inside, or we are coming to see our relative inside, or the relative is coming out to go visit his relatives within the area. So everybody who came in to Pastor Mackenzie's got in and never left. You understand? So there was no interaction. They could only send people inside, but there are no people coming outside to report what was happening. And the boda people were also not allowed inside.
By Mackenzie.
So it was very easy to stay secretly within that forest without people really knowing what was happening. But there are certain things that were red flags which people ignored. In the story, I think there's a story about a chief who had given a death certificate. I don't know whether you remember that bit.
Yes.
A death certificate. Now, this death certificate, I think, was for somebody, I think, from Bungoma or something like that. Somebody that died, and the people were informed. His people were informed. And when they were informed, they came. Now, for them to get the body, they needed a death certificate. And they informed the chief.
Area chief.
The area chief. And the area chief actually gave a death certificate. But how he didn't supervise to know, was the body removed or was it buried there, is something that still, I think the chief has something to answer about that. And
was it the only death certificate that he issued?
At least we know about that one death certificate. And you see, if people die and there's no death certificate being given, there are no burial permits being given, you know, interestingly, if you look at, I had an opportunity to speak to one person whose children, you remember the first two kids who died? And that's how the story came out. This is an old man who had his family in Shanzu. Now, his son and his wife had moved there, and he had grandchildren. So the two girls died. And he was informed that his grandchildren had died. So he went there because you cannot bury your grandchildren where it's not their home, because they had gone there to farm. Those were farms, not a home. So he went to claim the bodies. So he insisted that the children, his grandchildren, need to be taken back to Shanzu for burial. But when he got there, they had already been buried. The day they died, they were buried the same day. So he said they must be exhumed,
so that I can go with
I can go with my grandchildren for burial. But his son and his daughter-in-law refused, and that is how that thing came out. How did it come out? Because a local was involved. Yes, a local was involved. But if you look at a lot of the people who died there, they are from upcountry. And when they die, and these are people who ran away from home, basically they have had issues at home and they have a solace with Pastor Mackenzie. And when they leave home, they have abandoned home, and nobody knows anything else about them.
So news of whatever is happening to them, their whereabouts, whether they are dead or alive, is not getting back.
It's not getting
to
back.
Their family.
Yes, it's not getting back. And that is how a lot of things. Had Mackenzie's farm had that opportunity of you can get in and get out, then information would have come out. I'll give you another story of a lady I knew. If you get to Malindi, this lady was called Ruth. If you get to Malindi, there's a petrol station called Total. There was a lady there who for many years used to sell.
That petrol station after the roundabout, immediately as you get into
Malindi.
Yes.
It's the Malindi petrol station.
The petrol station, yes, there. So there's a small shop, a small tack shop there. You can buy whatever you want to buy, you know. And there's a lady who was always at the counter. It's called Ruth. I know her well because I used to work at Malindi many years ago. And when she came to work in that shop, she was employed almost at the same time when I arrived in Malindi. And that shop had just been opened, so I was a regular there. So I knew Ruth, and she was a young girl, and she grew up, and even she got married. But she came to meet Pastor Mackenzie when she had the church in Malindi. So she started going to that church, and she was one of those people when Pastor Mackenzie's TV, in fact, when you look at Pastor Mackenzie's TVs, the earlier clips, you'll see that lady.
She's in the front.
You know. And as the gospel got hotter, she abandoned her family and left the children with her husband.
Right.
And she was serving God in that church. And when they moved to Shakahola, she moved also there. So she used to have a phone and would once in a while communicate with the family and the children and all that. But after some time, there were no more phone calls. And now they could not reach this lady.
Yeah.
But I think one day she got hold of a phone after 1 year or 2 years and said, yeah, mimi niko Shakahola. Talked to one of the friends who used to sell in that shop, mimi niko Shakahola. And that was the last phone call.
And this is about 2 years after she had moved into Shakahola.
And that was it. And today, the parents are still looking for her. And probably she's one of those people that died.
Whose bodies are there.
Whose bodies are there. And she was Louis or Kamba, one of those. And the parents lost contact, and everybody lost contact. And they were asking, where is this Ruth?
Even her husband.
Yeah.
Even her husband. The children now are big.
Yeah.
But there's something I have to ask.
Let's take a break, City. Let's take a break, and then we shall ask this question.
Yes.
The Honourable Owen Baya, the MP for Kilifi North constituency, Deputy Majority Leader in the National Assembly, is our guest this morning. We are talking about trying to understand what exactly has happened in Shakahola and how do we get justice? How do we get closure for those that are looking for their loved ones? 26 minutes to 8, Kenya's biggest conversation. Star 832 hash. Mheshimiwa, you know that one. Star 832 hash.
832 hash.
Yes. This affordable housing project by the government is going to be in all 290 constituencies.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to the State Department for Housing and Urban Development and tell them I've had a conversation with my community, with my county.
Yes.
This is the area for Kilifi North where you can come and put up the affordable housing. Have you done that? You're working on it.
We're working on it, although we have already identified the land, and I look forward to it when we will ground break for the first houses. I look forward to it because when I explain to my people about this housing project, everybody thinks it will be done in Nairobi, and they have nothing to do with it. So I keep on telling them that, no, it will happen here, and our watch, and you will see it. But they have their doubts. So seeing is believing.
Kabisa.
Yes.
Kilifi North needs to have more than one project. I mean,
Yes.
in Kilifi town itself, you need
Yes.
one. You need to go have one around
Watamu.
Gede, in
Yes.
Watamu. You need to
Yes.
have several. So,
Yes.
for people to benefit from this project,
Yes.
go and tell your constituents that they need to register with bomayangu.go.ke.
All right. Okay.
That's the only way they'll be able to participate in ownership of those homes. Or they can dial star 832 hash. That's star 832 hash. With that, you register into Bomayangu. When the houses are complete and you've identified a house, then you start your journey towards owning one of those units. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Calling all expectant mothers and new moms in Mombasa. The Standard Group PLC presents the Bump to Baby Expo, the ultimate pregnancy and motherhood event. Join us on August 23rd and 24th at the Kenya Coast National Polytechnic Chandaria Hall, starting 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. as we celebrate the incredible journey of motherhood and give back to the amazing mothers in our lives. Get ready for an unforgettable experience. The Bump to Baby Expo is your one-stop destination for information, resources, and support during pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood. Discover the latest insights on nutrition, health, childcare, education, and safety. Our expert speakers and engaging workshops will provide you with the knowledge you need to thrive as a mom. Connect with a community of like-minded moms, share your experiences, and forge lifelong friendships. This is your chance to find the support you need on this beautiful journey. Bring your family along, because we haven't forgotten the role they play. Partners, parents, and extended family members are welcome to join and learn how to best support the moms in their lives. We've chosen Mombasa, the heart of vibrant culture and diversity, as the perfect backdrop for this extraordinary event. Don't miss out on this opportunity to celebrate motherhood in a city filled with warmth and beauty. Mark your calendars for August 23rd and 24th. The Bump to Baby Expo at the Chandaria Hall in Mombasa. Call Dorcas on 0794 909 108 or Marlon on 0714 078 838 for more information. See you there. When it's time to bring your mind, body, and soul together in complete control, let Gasuku be your guide. The Japanese form of martial arts is back. We're calling out to like-minded people willing to build a community through an enriching experience for karatekas worldwide. Yes, courtesy of the Standard Group, Power Fitness, and Japanese Karate Shotorenmei Kenya, JKS Kenya. The Gasuku 2nd Edition 2023 will be held on the 5th of August from 9 a.m. at the Standard Group Center along Mombasa Road, and you're all invited. This year, the event seeks to impact on children, martial arts beginners, women, professionals, as well as people living with disability for an all-inclusive interaction, plus exciting games for the kids. So, you better not miss out. For more information, contact Diana Rono on 0724 898 962 or email drono@standardmedia.co.ke. See you there.
Deputy Leader of the Majority in the National Assembly. He's telling us about, we are talking about Shakahola. What happened in Shakahola? How did it happen? Who should be answering questions? Well, Kilifi North is not where Shakahola is. Shakahola is in which constituency?
It's in Magarini.
It's in Magarini, neighboring Magarini constituency. And you've told us that this entire area, the Chakama Ranch, is basically community land for the Giriama people. And the area where Shakahola is for a specific clan, had been earmarked for a specific clan, the Amabwaya Mwaro clan. And you are an elder of that clan. Okay, City, you had a question.
I do have a question. Among the Giriama specifically, even if you buy land, the buying of land is not the beginning and the end. It's the beginning of a relationship. You never really lose touch. Those people more or less become members of your family. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
They are people you relate to, the people you talk to, the people you visit. And you get to know everybody. Now, it's with that in mind that I'm thinking, even when you lease land and you lease a very large portion of it, don't you keep in touch? Don't you find out? Huyu mwenzetu tulimpatia shamba. Okay? How is he getting along?
Je, amevuna?
Yes, does he have have problems arisen that we need to sort out? It's in that spirit of that relationship. Or are we saying that the elders who are involved in this process completely abandoned something which is part and parcel of that particular community?
You see, what Mackenzie did, and which is, if you take time to visit, you will realize that he asked for a huge chunk of land. How do you ask for 800 acres? You know,
to grow food.
Yes, 800 acres. So then you put probably, before you get into where I live, you have to cover 20 acres. Also. Before you get also to get to where I live. Now, before I come to visit you, I have to really have prepared myself to come in.
You have to travel 40 acres.
You are not going to go back the same day.
The same day. So I think that is what Mackenzie did. He actually blocked himself away from the people and got really deep inside. Even if you were to hire a border to get deep inside where Mackenzie is, it will be very costly for you to do that. So he actually secluded himself away from the people.
So like from where people are dropped to where the homesteads begin is about how many kilometers?
You would cover like 10, 20 kilometers to get to where
quite a distance.
Mackenzie's, and that's why before even they got
we're basically
do the road
about from
before this security, they had to actually do the road, you know, because you could not easily get there.
You couldn't get in.
He couldn't get in. So he secluded himself from every other person. The only thing is, he had, and interestingly, Mackenzie, I think his church, the church, is it called New Life or what? Good News Fellowship, had branches not in Kilifi, not in Kilifi, but it had branches majorly in Kamba, in Machakos, and the Kamba area.
Recruitment hubs.
Yes, and Western, and I think here in Nairobi. So basically, the people who came in like pilgrims, to go for a pilgrimage, the way people would leave Kenya to go to Mecca.
Yeah.
So that is how they would live. So you talk to your pastor, and you're in Kakamega, and the pastor of that church tells you, yes, now it is your time now to go and visit our spiritual leader.
Yeah.
So now you take a journey. You get to Malindi town. From Malindi now you take a taxi or something you're dropped at the junction to Shakahola. Then you take a boda and get inside, and they drop you, and you have gone for your pilgrimage, and you go meet your spiritual leader inside there. And that is how you realize a lot of the people that died there are either Luyas, Luos, or Kambas. They were majority. The few Giriamas who were there are actually the people who had started the church together in Malindi town. So they moved together. So the few locals are basically the people who they had initially started the church with in Malindi. And therefore, it was not easy for people to trace who has gone in there. Okay. Who has... Actually, we knew this thing came out just because there was a local who went to demand for the bodies of his grandchildren. If we hadn't gotten that level, we wouldn't have. And that is when they got there, they saw these emaciated people.
Right.
That's when the public could have known.
Yes.
Not
so
when
they got
we
those
could have known.
People who were emaciated and they were almost dying, and the boda guy who had taken these guys found those people who were almost dying and decided to carry them on his boda to hospital, and that's where now the other people knew
what was going on. Can we cast some light a little bit further here?
Yes.
Because, and I think when we have the conversation, we can tell the story. But the truth is that in terms of sharing of responsibility for what happened and continues to happen in Shakahola, it cannot just be one person who was allegedly perpetrating certain crimes inside there, right?
Yes.
Because you've said borders would drop people at the entrance.
Yes.
They would go in, they would not come out.
Yes.
It was known.
Yes.
Somebody's children died.
Yes.
Somebody died. A chief administered a death certificate. That incident was known that there were people inside here.
Yes.
There were stories, because we know how communities are. Something happens, people will speak about it. People know. There are communities who are living on the periphery of this Shakahola, is it not?
Yes.
People know. Borders also. We know that they spread information very quickly.
Yes.
How is it that so many people are entering into an area, right?
Yes.
They do not come out. There is government administration in this area, and yet nothing.
So one of the things that we need to focus on is a chief knew. A chief knew someone had died inside there.
Yes.
And if you are not clear about how that person died, the first thing is you report to the police. And the police would want to pick that body and conduct a post-mortem, especially if a person dies at home. Today, if you have a relative and dies at home, what is the first thing you do?
It's a police case.
It's a police case. You cannot bury that person until you get clearance. Now, this person had died at home. The first thing the chief should have done is to have told these people reporting the death before he issues a death certificate is, please go report to the police. Because that is normal. When somebody dies at home, you don't bury. You report to the police, and the police now will clear you, say, this person can be buried because the hospital said it died of natural causes. That is one of the first glitches that we get. Why did the chief issue a death certificate and a burial permit without alerting the police? And probably the police could have been alerted, but what did the police do? But again, you ask yourself, where is the next police station?
Actually, yes, where is the next police
The
station?
next police station. Probably the next police station is where there is this college, I forget the name of this place, Baolala. Baolala.
Is it a police post or a police station?
It's a police post.
About how far is it?
That should be around 10 kilometers away from the junction.
From the junction.
Yes. Baolala is a small town that's coming up because there's a college, there's a TVET there. And a lot of people, by the way, go there to buy land. So you find that. Then before you, then from Baolala, the next is town is Kakoneni. I think in Kakoneni you'll find a police, it still is a police post in Kakoneni.
Kakoneni is slightly bigger.
Yes. So that is the next town.
Yes.
You've been Kakoneni, that is the next town.
Yes.
Because if you drive, you get to Kakoneni. Then from Kakoneni now you go to Baolala. Then from Baolala, it's just open space until you
All the
get
way.
to Salagate area where the hotels, these tourist hotels are. You get there. So that is one of the things. So probably in that area, many people die at home and
But-
they are buried without notifying the police. So that is a possibility. But I think in normal intelligence setups, in areas like that, you expect one or two people from the intelligence to be able to visit that area, know what is happening, and gather information. So there was a laxity on their part.
And that's the question, Mheshimiwa,
Yes,
because
there's
if you just
laxity
think
on their part.
about the coast and the coastal area,
Yes.
this is an area which had, not many years ago, not even
Yes.
10 years ago,
Yes.
had many serious issues of
Yes.
radicalization.
Yes.
And therefore,
Yeah.
intelligence, police,
Yes.
and everybody, security agencies are on high alert
Yes.
on issues and around radicalization.
Yes.
Pastor Mackenzie was on the radar
Yes.
of security agencies
Yes.
because of what he was preaching, and especially coming so soon after the debacle with the Huduma number,
Yes.
where even the president himself
Yes.
mentioned
Yes.
that there's a pastor here who's telling people Huduma number is the number of the beast 666.
Yes.
So that means intelligence was
Yes.
on high alert
Yes.
around Pastor Mackenzie.
Yes.
When all these people are arriving in Malindi
Yes.
and they're asking for directions to Shakahola,
Yes.
and they are boarding matatus or border borders to head towards Shakahola,
Yeah.
surely
Is that not a red flag?
all these government apparatus
Yes.
can see. We cannot say that,
And one of the
maybe
things
they
that you
did
need
not see,
probably
maybe.
to mention is, the proximity of Shakahola to Tsavo Park, Tsavo East Park, is quite close.
Yep.
And you have a lot of KWS rangers
Yep.
in that area, that take care of the animals in
Because
that
of
area.
yeah.
The Galana Kulalu is not far away from there. The Galana Kulalu farm actually is not far away from there. It's quite close. So government mandarins and security agencies, they patrol that part of the land, but it is on their weakness. I don't know what, but their laxity especially that they did not see this. And you see. Well, that area is sparsely populated, by the way. That is actually one of the problems that you get there. Because if you today take you to Shakahola, you'll ask me, where is the village? Where is the village? Where are the people? Because you will only see
You will not
forest.
see,
And you'll see one house here, another house there, another house very far distance, because the land is
vast.
large, is vast.
But
But there is even a primary school where children go, and not it's there. So I can say that government agencies that were supposed to pick information and relay that information slept on their job. Slept on
Mheshimiwa,
their job, yes.
when somebody's under the radar of the government,
Yes.
we have more than ample evidence in the public domain.
Yes.
There was an Islamic preacher who was very, very vocal
Yes.
in his radicalization, and he was known.
Yes.
Not only was he followed,
Yes.
but he was shot
Yes.
in a moving vehicle, and he is the only one who died.
Yes.
Meaning, he was targeted. They did not. There were many people in the car. They did not wish to kill anyone.
Yes.
We had a case where we were told of two individuals who were in Shimulatewa committee because of terrorist issues.
Yes.
And supposedly they left.
They had attempted to escape.
Escape. Yes.
They were found.
Yes.
When we had a terror attack within Nairobi,
Yes.
within a very short time, our intelligence and security forces were able to triangulate and to figure out whose phone was used where and who did what and why they had been watching some of these people over a period of time.
Yes.
When there was a huge drug haul some years ago in Malindi,
Yes.
if you listen and read the stories about it, the government had been aware, they were watching.
Yes.
They waited for the right time to pounce when they had known who played what role, who was doing what. They were watching.
Yes.
Somebody like Mackenzie brought himself to the attention of the government with his utterances.
Yes.
The government doesn't let people like that slip off their radar. Because they understand the psychology of people like that.
Yeah.
And they'll keep tabs on you.
Yeah.
You may not know, but they'll keep tabs on you.
Yeah.
How this one slipped over this long period of time,
Yes.
it is a puzzle.
If it slipped.
If it slipped, I like that. You see, Pastor Mackenzie was in Malindi. He set up a church. When he came, he set up a church in Malindi. And the first thing he did was to tell kids not to go to school. And he ran into trouble with actually the current county director of education in Kilifi, the county director of education, Veronica, who was now the Malindi sub-county education director. And she went there and pulled the children out. And that is the first time Mackenzie's radicalization was noticed. Then I think the former MP for Malindi then, current CS, Aisha Juma, knew about it and went and had a confrontation with Mackenzie. And eventually Mackenzie was arrested and brought to Malindi court. And I think they didn't see any problem with it. And he was arrested twice.
That is the point.
Yes.
How could they not have seen a problem with him?
Then this guy just disappears. You know, the first question would be, intelligence people would be asked, where is he? Where is this guy? What is he doing?
But Mheshimiwa, again,
You know.
disappear.
Yes.
He didn't disappear.
He didn't.
Everybody who was arriving in Malindi was going to Mackenzie. So he's not disappeared.
Yes. People knew where he was.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would tell you that government agencies slept on their job.
Now I want to ask,
Yes.
you as Parliament,
Yes.
representing the people,
Yes.
with the job that you have to oversight the executive and to
Yes.
ask these questions,
Yes.
why aren't we hearing those questions? Why aren't we hearing that there's a proper special committee that's been formed to deal with this particular matter?
No,
Why aren't we
today the
hearing a
Senate
push
Senate
for maybe a public inquiry, a
Yes.
proper public inquiry into this matter?
Senate has a committee. Senate has I think yesterday they had a report on something.
They have an
yesterday.
ad hoc committee that's been asking questions.
They have an ad hoc committee that they have. I think that committee has come to Shakahola twice. I even they passed through Kilifi town and I met them there and had a conversation. They even went there with the speaker. So Senate took the opportunity. I raised a question in a statement in Parliament personally, and the National Assembly, and we had a discussion, a special motion. We had a discussion about Shakahola and all that. But then when we finished, when we wanted to now to move to set up something, Senate came in and we allowed Senate. We agreed with Senate that we don't want to have two committees. So Senate said they wanted to lead. So we allowed Senate to go ahead with that thing. And I think they're still holding hearings up to today.
Okay.
And I think also government has, there's this commission that was set by the president on religious leaders. And it's being led by Justice Lesit and Reverend. So there are two commissions that are following up these issues, plus Senate. So there's work going on. And there are people even today coming into Senate to testify and to give information about Shakahola. And even as we sit here, there is still a lot of investigations going on.
Do you have clarity as parliamentarians, especially
Yes.
you people who are now the leaders of Parliament?
Yes.
Do you have clarity on how long this is expected to take? Because it looks like to be an open-ended one. We are now going into phase 5 of exhumations. How long are we going to exhume bodies? How long are we going to take to conduct post-mortem?
Yes.
When shall those people be identified?
I think yesterday they identified around 100 families identified bodies of their relatives yesterday. And they will go on until everybody identifies. There are those that were beyond recognition.
But identification just requires DNA.
Yes, and DNA, we have a problem in this country. For DNA sampling, you have to take to South Africa and get results. I think so we still have to depend on South Africa.
So are those the challenges that we have?
That is one of the challenges.
Because
but one of the major
hiring.
challenges.
As parliamentarians, you can push. We hire for specialized services to come to Kenya.
Yes.
For this particular operation. Think about it, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
600 people have been reported missing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Those are loved ones who are looking for their loved ones.
Yes. Yes.
They're hearing their bodies that are being exhumed, or we've taken a break because Johansson Odor needs to do this, then we shall continue. That is a long time to wait.
Yes, yes.
What about those people?
Now, interestingly, I think you saw a story that there are there's some bodies that were dug up and that looked like they'd been buried
More recently than
more recently. And that actually puzzled me. Like, we got a report that the police had combed the area, the whole area, using helicopters and drones and everything.
Helicopters?
And drones, and said there is nobody, else. But then we get information that there are bodies which were dug up,
Yes.
which could have been buried during the excavation time.
Or during the time when they were combing the whole area.
Yes, yes. So these are those are a shocker, and we are yet to understand how this happened, because if there are all those police officers there, there are over 200 police officers stationed there today.
Well, remember, the death of every Kenyan is as important as the next.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
We had a tragic, terrible accident in Londiani.
Yes.
And the entire government was entire.
Yes,
There are issues arising from it right now.
yes.
But we saw, I personally was happy
Yes.
that optics was there.
Yes.
What about for Shakahola?
For Shakahola. Interestingly, I want to move to the next. Interestingly, they have held now Mackenzie for 6 months. How many months now?
Many, and they're asking to hold him for 49 more days.
Yes, and they have a problem on how to charge him, because the last meeting I attended, security meeting I attended, I could see the DCI and they were grappling. What do we charge this guy for? They're looking, is he in money laundering? No. Pastor Mackenzie is a poor man. He's not this pastor who was getting money from the people. And if people sold their properties for him, I don't know where they took the money and what they did with the money. But Pastor Mackenzie, you look at, he doesn't have...
He has not even finished paying for this land.
Yes, he's not finished paying for this land. Then these guys are, so what do we charge Pastor Mackenzie with? What do you charge with? Under Kenyan law, up to today. That's the question
Then
that
let
DCI
them release him.
grappling. But releasing him again is just telling people what?
That they failed.
Yes. So we have a lot of issues around.
Yeah.
I see the DCI people and I see government people and the lawyers. There are lawyers involved, wondering what do we do with this.
Since when has the
pastor
Kenyan police
Mheshimiwa,
Mackenzie?
have an ability to charge
we
someone?
hope to get more answers from this.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
The Honorable Owen Bayer,
Yes.
MP for Kilifi North constituency.